Welcome in the biology class. I am Dr. P.K. Verma. Last day I had discussed the process of fertilization and implantation. Today I shall discuss the process of childbirth and lactation. The process of childbirth is known as parturition. That is, delivery of child is called parturition. Throughout the period of pregnancy, the levels of estrogen and progesterone remain higher. After 7th month, however, the level of progesterone decreases slowly and the estrogen causes increase in the contractility of uterine muscles. Due to low progesterone, the placenta breaks and prostaglandins are released from the breaking placental tissue, initiating the labor pain. At the end of pregnancy, cervical muscles become soft and can be stretched when the labor contraction begins. Now, prostaglandin is a pain-causing hormone, but it acts as a signal for many other processes also. In this case, it helps in the release of oxytocin from the hypothalamus pituitary axis. So when oxytocin is released, it causes contraction in the smooth muscles of uterus. Because of this, the internal pressure of uterus increases. Another hormone, relaxin, is secreted by ovary and placenta. It makes the ligaments between pubic bones loose so that the birth canal can be widened. By increasing internal pressure, pubic symphysis move apart through which the birth canal can be formed. In the first childbirth, it is a difficult and more painful process because the pubic bones have been closed and the ligaments were tight for a long period, 25 to 30 years. In the first stage of labor, there is dilation of cervix as large as the size of head of the baby. I am here discussing the normal baby, in which head will come first out of cervix. Opposite is also possible when the legs will come out first. That is called inverted child. Now, the process generally lasts for 8 to 24 hours in 3 phases. 1 for 2 hours only. Third, more than 2 hours. And fourth, the entire period during labor and about 1 hour after the childbirth also. But in the next pregnancy, it is quicker. It takes only a few hours from initiation of pain, labor pain, and the childbirth. After the cervix dilates fully, the mucus plug of cervix is pushed out and the amniotic membrane ruptures. The amniotic fluid passes out through vagina With amniotic fluid, the fetus slips out or pushed out slowly. In normal delivery, the head comes out, and with only a slight downward pressure, the baby comes out. After delivery, the umbilical cord is tied, cut, and placenta is pulled out. Now the whole process of parturition has been shown by Nucleus, a medical media, very excellent video that can be seen by every student to understand the whole process properly. I am grateful to the Nucleus media. The video is available on YouTube also.
During a vaginal childbirth, the first stage of labor lasts about 12 to 19 hours and starts when your baby settles lower into your pelvis. In response, your cervix begins to efface or become thinner and dilate or widen. During this time, you may feel strong, regular contractions occurring every 5 to 20 minutes and lower back pain and cramping that doesn't go away. You may see a brownish or reddish mucus discharge, which could be the mucus plug at the opening of your cervix, falling out. Your water may break, which can either be a large gush of fluid or a continuous trickle. If you experience any of these symptoms, contact your doctor or midwife to see if you should go to the hospital. At the beginning of stage 2 of labor, which usually lasts from 20 minutes to 2 hours, your cervix is fully dilated to 10 centimeters. And your baby's head has moved beyond the cervical opening into your birth canal. Your doctor or midwife will instruct you to push during your contractions and rest between them. In a normal delivery, your baby's head will rotate to face your back. During active labor, your uterus is divided into an active segment that contracts, pushing the baby downward, and a flexible passive segment that remains relaxed, stretching to provide more room for the baby to pass through. When the top of your baby's head appears, or crowns, your doctor may make a small cut, called an episiotomy, to enlarge the vaginal opening. Then, your doctor or midwife will give you instructions on how to push your baby out. As your baby's head passes through the birth canal, it molds into an elongated shape. An elongated head shape will resolve itself within a few days as the skull bones shift back into place. After your baby's head exits the birth canal, his or her head and shoulders will rotate to help the shoulders pass through the birth canal. Your baby's shoulders are delivered one after the other in order to fit through your pelvis. Once the shoulders emerge, the rest of your baby slides out easily. After your baby is born, his or her umbilical cord will be cut. In stage 3 of labor, which may last 5 to 30 minutes, mild contractions will help push the placenta out of the uterus. During this stage, you and your baby may begin bonding through skin-to-skin contact and breastfeeding.
Now come to the other process following a few hours of childbirth. It is known as lactation. Lactation has two aspects. One is synthesis of milk under control of prolactin hormone of pituitary, and another is secretion of milk under control of another pituitary hormone, oxytocin. The breast start development during puberty period under control of estrogen, but cannot produce milk without childbirth. So childbirth gives signal for lactation. How? During pregnancy period, The growth is enhanced due to high level of progesterone. It increases the ducts and glandular tissues and help in greater deposition of fats into the tissue, that is stroma of the mammary glands. However, the secretion cannot come out since the milk duct are choked. The sphincter muscles under surface of nipples are constricted. For the growth, other hormones like growth hormone, prolactin, glucocorticoids and insulin etc. also have important roles. Final development of breast into milk secreting organ also requires progesterone. In the last few weeks of pregnancy, some secretions containing protein and lactose come out into alveoli, but fat is absent from them. After delivery, the first milk, known as colostrum, contains protein and lactose as well as fat and some antibodies of IgA class. It is said that feeding colostrum to the child is very useful. It defends the child from many intestinal bacteria and other diseases. It should not be therefore discarded. Now Foley in 1956 proposed that low circulating level of estrogen activates lactogenic function of the anterior pituitary, whereas its higher level inhibits lactation. This has been termed as the double threshold theory. Foley suggests that the falling level of progesterone before labor pain increases, the positive lactogenic effect of estrogen alone occurs. It causes more secretion of prolactin and therefore initiates milk synthesis. How? When placenta breaks, there is sudden increase in progesterone level because all the progesterone present in the placental cells are released suddenly. It controls synthesis of a prolactin receptor in the alveolar cells, and therefore these receptors bound to the cell surface become receptive to prolactin, becomes responsive to prolactin, and therefore milk synthesis can occur. In absence of prolactin receptor, there will be no milk synthesis. Now after synthesis has begun and child is born, active sucking of milk is essential for continuity of milk production. Sensory nerves leading from the nipples to the higher nervous system are essentially stimulated and cause relaxation in the sphincter muscles behind the nipples. Release of oxytocin hormone is positive reflex, and this appears to be a specific humoral agent that is involved in transport of milk from the alveoli to the duct system, the let down of milk. What does it mean? When the child starts sucking, there is a reflex into mother. The reflex goes to the brain, the higher center, the hypothalamus, that sends signals to release oxytocin, and when oxytocin level increases, the internal pressure of mammary gland increases. On the one hand, the muscles around alveoli contract, but on the other hand, the sphincter muscles dilate, and therefore milk is easily pushed out. Here, one thing I would like to say that the breastfeeding is a healthy practice beneficial for the baby as well as the mother. No mother should be ashamed of feeding breast. It is not a sign of poverty. When a mother feeds her baby, she should be proud that she is a mother. It will help in more milk production and her breast will remain full. It will look in shape. If she does not feed her baby, the breast will become loose and look senile. So be careful. Breastfeeding is a pride, not a shame. When prolactin remains high, the FSH level remains low and new cycle is delayed. So it is a natural method to increase gap between two children. The milk supplements should be used only when her own lactation level is low. Lactation may decrease during high fever and in case of anxiety. So the mother should be careful of her own physical and mental health also. So it is all about reproduction and breastfeeding. Thanks a lot, and I would like to have questions, the suspicions, the doubts in the comment box. Thank you very much.